we got Steven Bergman here.
Yep.
From GLS USA.
Correct.
Talk about it. And thanks for coming to the Golden Com podcast, Steven.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, been colleagues now for over a year.
Yep.
And it's a great time. I get to know you better. And I think would like to know more about what it's like to run a multinational, international company where the headquarters is not in the United States of America.
Right.
But before we get there, a little bit about you. Where are you from originally?
Born and raised north of Seattle.
North of Seattle.
Yeah.
Where's that? In the city of Seattle, or is there a city?
A town called Marysville.
Oh, Marysville.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you call it Marysville or Marysville?
Oh, that's good. Marysville.
They do. Okay.
Yeah.
In the South,
I was gonna say they're very, it's very specific.
in the South, they would say there's a Marysville.
Oh, yeah.
They have
No.
like a Marysville.
Yeah, they're the Northwest accent enunciates very clear, cleanly. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. All right.
Yeah.
And then there you go to high school, college.
Yeah, went to high school there in Marysville, and then went to college at University of Washington. So,
Okay.
So stuck local, got lucky. The governor had done a program where if you had certain grades and whatever, they wanted to keep you in the state, so they gave you a full ride. So I said, hey, I'll take it.
Good for you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it worked, kept me there.
Then you come out, and how's the job market when you come out of school? How's that look?
Terrible.
Oh,
Yeah, so graduate right. So I go to accounting school.
Yes.
Being a good accounting type person I was, and literally 2 months before graduating with my accounting degree, Arthur Andersen and Enron collapse, and tens of thousands of accountants are put on the street, and you're not getting an accounting job. So that's the end of that pipe dream.
the Big Five is no longer the Big Five.
No, it's the Final Four. It's the Final Four.
And Enron is just gone.
Is gone, yeah.
Right.
It's all gone. So everything's collapsed. Like the .com bubble has exploded.
And
so
your resume is
Yep.
like, I'm an accountant.
I went to the career fair, and the only two things recruiting at the career fair at my graduation were, and this is at University of Washington, were police. You go become a police officer or join the CIA because 9/11 had just happened and they were hot for new CIA officers. That was it. There was nobody else.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm crying is what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was the single worst time to graduate college, 2002.
Okay, well, something must have happened because you're still here. So
Yeah.
you got a job, I think, with the city. Is that right? Or where did you get your first job?
So I ended up, the company I was working for through college was Postal Express. So
okay.
so they ended up saying, well, why don't you just come on full time? You know, you were doing payroll on the side while you were getting your accounting degree. Why don't you come on and see if you can do something more around yield management? So I said, okay. So they paid me $30,000 a year. And I said, well, I can live off that, I guess. And
So what do you do around yield management for $30,000 a year? What does your day look like?
yeah, so I would just go in and look at each route. So back then we had very scheduled routing, and we did a lot of work for the Federal Reserve, for banks, a lot of financial movements, not cash, just all the checks and all the clearings and that type of stuff. And so I would just look at and see how profitable each one was and see where we need to maybe tweak our rates or adjust a cost down or whatever, and then push
So
that to
you're
ops.
moving paper around the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it was a wild thing back then. Before there was nothing was electronic.
Yeah, because
so
there's no ACH. Or,
yeah,
it's just,
if you cut a check, you'd go cash it at your bank. Then every night we'd pick it up, bring it to the Federal Reserve branch in Seattle. Then they would do what they do with it. And 2 hours later, we'd show back up, pick up the check now, and take it back to the bank that it was written off of. And then you do that every day, 6 days a week.
Can you believe that wasn't very long ago?
Oh yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
Check 21 was like 2009 or something. Yeah. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what. And then how long were you there at that? That first job.
Yeah, so I was there till 2008. So it's about 6 years doing that. Kind of worked my way up and did a few more. I was effectively the general manager by the time I had left.
Okay. Is that when you went to Microsoft?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
jump
now,
ship.
Now that I've heard of that company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're a Seattle kid.
Yep.
And now you're working for the Redmond.
Yep.
I mean, does that feel good? Is that like a?
Oh, yeah.
Is that like a big time neighborhood move for like the Maryville neighborhood?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would-
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that was
huge.
Yeah, that was a big deal. So
Yeah.
that was like, and that was my original goal, was to work at Microsoft or one of the big tech companies, but that was dead in 2002, and so finally made it.
Right.
6 years later, and was completely disillusioned with that move.
How so? I gotta hear it.
Because they immediately put you in a hole like in a silo.
Yes.
And you do not move outside that silo. That's it. So I was an analyst. So I was had two components. I managed the budget for the readiness group, which is all the corporate training for sales and marketing. So
Okay.
so I did that. So I managed the budget for the GM who ran it, and then I also owned the KPIs.
Okay.
So for each of the directors in the unit, I would give them their KPIs, where they missed, and kind of be their analyst. They would tell them where the data was leading them.
And you're using Excel and SQL to do all this.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes
so,
sense. Yeah.
and I got really lucky. I got to work with some of the most brilliant SQL guys I've ever met were there. So I learned a ton. So I ended up, that's where I learned all my SQL background is in that side of it.
So that actually worked out.
Yeah, no, it did. I learned a ton.
Yeah.
But then would get my wrist slapped when I'd start moving outside my lane because I'm ambitious.
Right.
And I want to do more. So then it would be.
But at Microsoft, they were just
No.
like Google or any of these big people, they don't want you branching out.
No.
Right.
So.
In my experience, that's what
Yeah,
I've seen.
and I was doing too much.
Right.
So they wanted me to slow it down because my group needed to have certain expectations, and you did not want to exceed them because then someone else might have to exceed as well. So it was bring it down, keep it in this box. And they had a weird seniority system with how they would promote you and all that. So I was okay. I got hired in pretty good, but the seniority system didn't make sense to me. So I wasn't going to wait.
It's kind of at a place like that. It's kind of where you start limits you.
Yeah.
It doesn't it? So you almost have to leave and come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which sounds like you did one of those two. You left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I left.
You left.
I decided that it just wasn't working out. And then of course I'm there right when the financial crisis starts occurring. So by the time I got in, now we're back on the downslope, and it's rumors and all this and pigeonholed, and it's just overall.
This is 09.
Yeah.
10. Yeah.
Yep. And so decided that I can venture away. And at that time, there were some other investors from Postal Express who had bought some other companies and said, well, hey, Steve, come back. We're doing some more exciting things, but with other companies. Why don't you come back to us?
Plus, you have a wicked new set of skills.
Oh, yeah. And now,
Right. So this is great.
Yeah.
Okay. So where'd you end up now?
So I ended up back at Postal Express. Was EVP, just effectively running the whole thing.
Yes.
And then they had bought some other companies, Carpet Liquidators, Gutter Helmet, some of these other franchise things. And so kind of a conglomeration. We had a cigarette distributor.
Is it like private equity? Is that what it is?
Kind of. It's like three guys
Just
that had put it all together.
dudes.
Yeah. And so
So-
they had done it. There's kind of one primary guy that was the one I was working with. So he and I decide we do that, and then I said, well, I want some skin in a game.
Yeah.
Let's play a game. Let's do something. And so I come back, and then we buy a company called Zone Seattle and Zone San Francisco.
Okay.
Which we rebrand into Chef by Request.
Chef by request.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's part of Postal Express.
Yeah. So it's
Well, yeah.
really the same.
So did you
ownership.
you got a mentor out of this? Do you have somebody that you would consider a coach mentor in this line? Because it sounds like now it sounds like you're expanding. This sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like you get to be in charge of something very innovative.
Yeah, no, this
Yeah.
was super fun. So, Brian, who was the primary investor, was kind of my mentor at the time, kind of saying, like, here's things to watch, especially when it came to acquisitions. Because at the same time, we went on an acquisition spree for Postal Express. So he had a really good head about how to look at cash flow and how to borrow and how to structure a deal. So that was really neat. So I really learned how to go in, pitch, how's business? What are you looking to do?
Right.
I have an exit plan, and then be able to say, well, here I've got let me put together a structure for you that maybe we can make this a win-win. And so we had some deals we just bought and other deals that were structured on, earn-outs, other ones that were just purely basically a commission on sales. So we had done it. We did it every which way.
And Brian was very fluent in this.
Yeah.
And taught you that.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
find that to be very valuable.
Yeah, no, and so that I learned a ton doing that. And same with the deal when we bought Chef by Request. It was kind of a funky structured deal.
Yeah.
And and he was really in the background going, "No, Steve, you can get another $100,000 out of him if you do this." And you think about, you have to think about everything from sales outstanding, DSO, and all these things, and how do you factor those into the deal? And he was really good about how do you maximize the amount that you get to keep in cash. So maybe the top line looked like it sold for this, but when you actually look at the underlying cash and payables and all this, you kind of maximize the deal right at the last second. So yeah,
Cool.
it was good.
I'll be careful with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done it a few too many times.
So good. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that Chef by
Yep, Chef by Request.
Chef by Request runs its course.
Yep.
Is it still going?
No. So the guy who we sold it to, I think he absorbed it into a farm of some sort, and I'm not quite sure what he's done with it at this point.
Sounds farmy to table-y.
Yeah. He kind of and he was running the farm and wanted the table part. So
Cool. So that works for you guys probably.
Yeah.
Now
So
you're back to the mothership.
yeah, so end up exiting that as part of the deal when we sold Postal Express. So so we kind of sold the whole basket, so to speak, but in different directions.
Okay.
So so yeah, we're running them. Kind of decide that that's run its course. Sell Chef and then sell. The bigger deal is selling Postal.
Okay.
Which took 2 years to get through that whole process. We built the book, the sim and all the fun stuff, and then it was a private equity roadshow. And so, I was the primary, I was the ringleader, whatever.
The face
you call
of it.
Yeah, I was the face, and so I would put on the show and do the whole thing and what we had done, because likely I was the one going with the company, so it kind of made sense. Brian would be probably exiting, I'd probably be sticking around, so then ended up selling to GLS.
Then you found a buyer.
Yeah, finally, which was a strategic buyer. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it is.
So that brings us to today.
Yeah.
You sold your company to a company that lots of people probably don't know who they are in the States.
Right, correct. That's our biggest challenge.
Although in Europe, my understanding is they are very, very large.
Very. Yeah, we're depending on the market, we're in a first, second, or third position in almost every country in Europe.
And so what was a strategic buyer? They obviously want to get into the States more than they are, or was this their first acquisition into the States?
So we were the second. The first was Golden State Overnight here in California.
They're local guys.
Yeah. So
Golden State Overnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was
local being Orange County, California.
Yeah. So based down here and handled really California, Arizona. And then we were second. We were purchased 6 months later.
Okay.
As a bolt-on. So because we had complementary territory.
Okay. Now, not to put you on the spot, but how many more acquisitions since?
We've only done one other acquisition, Mountain Valley Express, which is an LTL carrier.
That's because Golden State Overnight had acquired a bunch of other ones.
Golden State Overnight had acquired, Norco and Overnight Express.
That's why I think of all those companies when I think of GLS. But some of those acquisitions rolled up before GLS. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and then Postal, we had acquired a whole bunch beforehand too, and so it was really
It's
just
all
the
rolled
two.
up.
Yeah, it's already rolled up, ready to go.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're headquartered where at GLS? Where's headquarters?
Santa Fe Springs.
Santa Fe Springs, and then so I imagine you have for lack of a better term, a boss.
Yes.
I imagine you have a boss.
Yeah.
And the boss is
a guy named Saudi, and he's located outside of Frankfurt.
He's in Germany.
Germany.
Okay. What's it like to have a boss in Germany?
It's interesting.
Tell me about it.
If you're a person who requires daily or even weekly, maybe even monthly affirmation on how you're doing, having a boss in Germany is not how you're going to get that affirmation. So I don't mean that in a negative way necessarily, but you're on your own.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of positives.
That's exciting.
Yeah. You're very autonomous. And this is the way GLS's culture is very, look, you run the business, it's your decision. We're not going to challenge what you know is right culturally. So we put the trust in you. But at the same time, you don't necessarily get the support or the structure either that would normally come with a very large organization. So you get it's a double-edged sword.
You know that going into it, though.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't
because you probably want some autonomy, right? You don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the autonomy is very important to how the actual culture of GLS globally works.
Which is a bunch of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Okay. So now you're in 6, 7, 8, 9 states.
9 states.
Western U.S.
Yep, Western U.S.
And you guys are working your tails off to get market share. I'm just guessing from UPS, FedEx. Is DHL still running around?
No,
they're gone.
Yeah, DHL's not a player.
It's UPS and FedEx.
Correct.
And you're like the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
or the RC Cola.
Okay.
I mean, it's good. Certain people absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
But
there's a market for it.
Yeah. And so we're those guys.
Okay, so for someone who is just fascinated with shipping, which is me, because I come out of a family where my mom and my uncle, they made handmade visors.
Oh, okay.
And they shipped them all over
Right.
to tennis and golf clubs. And so the UPS guy came to our homes. I mean, my uncle was always shipping, and he loved it. Shipping department, he would always
Right.
say, because that means he was selling.
Right.
So now shipping has changed because there's so much e-com.
Yep.
And I would imagine, so do you guys work with e-com platforms, or how do you try to get yourself wedged in to an e-com ecosystem?
Yeah, it is primarily through the technologies. So what you've seen over the last 10 years is these platforms come out that say, hey, we're going to make your shipping easier. And so then if they were making visors, or a lot of them are custom food kits or subscription kits, for example, they go to a tech platform, and they're pretty agnostic about who they want to ship with. Hey, GLS works, we just want a good deal, and we want it delivered fast over a greater space. And so what we do is partner with those platforms. So a lot of our energy goes into focusing to that we get listed on the platform, that we've got the right rates loaded in the platform, and that we're the primary option, especially if the platform is doing shopping. Then we're working to make sure that we're in there. So those are the criticals integrations. The tech side of it is, all you ever hear when we're talking about onboarding customers anymore is the tech component. Is it's an IT. We're waiting on IT. Oh, their IT is doing this, and
right.
Oh, their platform is that. So we try to make ourselves turnkey with every single platform, so that way we can just turn it right on.
Are there when you say platform, I'm going to guess that's Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento. Am I saying the right platforms?
So those are one level up.
Oh, okay. What are the ones you're talking about?
We're going to be with like a Shipium or a Shippo or ShipBob. They all have the same names. Aftership, Desktop Shipper. Though like Stamps.com.
Okay, those are the platforms you're talking about.
Yeah,
because they connect
ShipStation.
into.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that what these platforms have done is that they've created, which sounds insane, but these layers kind of each add a certain amount of value. But like Shopify doesn't want to deal with creating labels and all the different label designs and all the changes that go on in the industry with that, with time and transit tables, rating systems. So what they've done is kind of handed that off to this platform level market.
Gotcha.
So you've got your shopping market, and
Right.
then you've got your shipping market,
Shipping
and
modules,
then we plug into that shipping layer.
You're a fulfiller to there.
Yeah.
Got it. So you're working hard to get integrated into all that middle layer.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
It's getting the attention of each one of these to get prioritized within their system.
And that's for e-com.
Yeah, it's mainly e-com on that
And then
side.
what if you're allowed to tell of the pie, what piece of the GLS pie is that piece of the business?
I mean, these days the way you'd code it, probably about a third.
A third.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
can
is
we
in
go
that space.
to, are there two more thirds, or is there 166 left?
No, the next third would probably be for us is really in the kind of medical and supply fulfillment.
Medical and supply.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of we were joking about it the other day. We do a lot of adult diapers, just an inordinate amount. But yeah, anything like that. That's and especially these days, and COVID saw it surge, and this part's not coming back down. Is home delivery of more medical oriented things.
So hypothetically, catheters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you need catheters weekly, monthly.
Yep.
Or you need them every day.
They're all just
right?
it's all just
diapers.
Yep.
I don't know, dialysis, anything? Or
So, some things around dialysis, yeah, that's a big industry.
any mask or sleeper cleaning kits?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the hospital is a dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
So people are trying to stay out of the hospital, and that part of the business I can definitely see surging.
Yeah, no, and it's expensive. So being in a hospital is expensive.
Yeah.
So if the more you can give them to take care of things at home, the better. And so that industry's only been growing. It's got a double-digit CAGR. So
Great.
So attaching ourselves to that has been very lucrative for us.
Okay, so I got e-com at the platform level, and then I've got healthcare and products. The last third?
The last is really in the say perishables, consumables. So wine,
food, beverage,
meal kits, custom grocery that's boxed in. So a lot of the ethnic grocery shippers, and then there's just a wide variety in that space. Things that are really time sensitive. So one of the differences of GLS versus FedEx, for a quick plug, is that we have a much larger overnight and 2-day shipping range. And generally a perishable, you want that thing delivered within 2 days max. So, preferably overnight. Well, since we can cover over double the geography in that range, we're very attractive. And then we have a really high quality of service. So between those two things, we end up it makes it a niche, somewhat of a niche, but it's a big chunk of our business, but where our value prop meets their kind of need.
And particularly if you're in the West States.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So
even more important.
yeah. Well, I don't know a lot about. I know a lot about e-com, or at least I pretend to. Quite a little bit about healthcare, and I've got some family members with adult diapers going on. So I don't know if you do. It seems to be the case. And then, of course, I love to eat, and I see all of those as growing markets. So it seems like there could be some bright future ahead for GLS.
Yeah, no, we've really done well, I think, in those. And then for us, it's where else does our value prop apply, and how can we work that? So, and trying to get our name out there is huge for that.
So, I mean, that's one of my last questions. What are you optimizing for right now? Like, what do you look at? Setting goals is always hard. I talk to business owners, entrepreneurs all the time. Setting goals is so flipping hard.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard? It just seems like it should be so easy.
Yeah.
But do you have any goals that you can share, or things you're striving for, or trying to hit? Can you think of what you're optimizing for right now?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be, so one, just enhance our market share. I mean, we're a 0.4% player within our current market. So how do we become, a whole point? I mean, which is, lofty for us, but we want to grow the market share component of it. And then second is make sure that our, the quality and the value prop of what we're bringing. We're very tech forward. So we've got some of the best tech on the market right now of any of the, especially compared to the duopoly, but compared to other regionals. And then just overall that we're bringing value through the personal touch and understanding what people need. Anytime you're in a market with a duopoly, you've got things just become commoditized, and we don't want to be the commodity. So our goal is really to stay there, and then just to keep growing within our space, within our current geography, to just show that, hey, we've got some serious market share here.
Good, I love it. Well, Steven, I love that you came down.
Oh.
I'm actually really interested in following you guys, so I'll be keeping track of GLS.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see someone going to be a 1%er. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Right? It's very exciting. You feel it's a David and Goliath story. So
yeah,
good
absolutely.
luck. Thanks for coming in.
No, appreciate it.
Hope to have
Thanks,
you
Jason.
back. Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely.
All right.